Hi, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to another episode of STEM Girls Virtual, where we talk about all the careers in the STEM fields. Those fields are science, technology, engineering, and math. My name is Becca, and I'm here on behalf of Cincinnati Museum Center with two very special guests. Their names are Linda and Iris, and they are product researchers at Procter & Gamble. Hi, ladies. How are you today?
Hi, we're doing great. How are you?
Good. Very excited to learn with you both. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. Is that okay?
Sounds great.
Perfect. So the first question we have is, can you tell us a little bit more about your jobs? What is it that a product researcher does for Procter & Gamble?
Well, products research is a very unique role at Procter & Gamble. Our job is to work very closely with the consumer and really understand what are her likes and dislikes with our products and how can we design something new and different that she will absolutely love. So it also involves working with a lot of different groups within P&G. So we work with the formulation department to create the chemistry behind all of our products. We also work with the process community to create the products at the plant. We'll work with our legal department to make sure we have all the claim support that's required. We'll test the product to make sure it does what it's supposed to do. We'll work with regulatory and safety to make sure that the product is safe and follows all the regulations for the countries that it's sold in. And we also work with marketing to determine what is the right claims language that we should have on a package or maybe in TV copy or magazine copy. And probably one of my biggest interests is working on product demos and showing how our great products actually work. It's really fun.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Thank you so much. Yes, that's such a awesome mix of, two very different worlds, like the artistic and, marketing and talking to people and all those things, and science and all the cool stuff that goes into actually creating that product. Iris, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, so I agree with everything Linda said, but one thing I want to emphasize more is that we also work very strongly or like very closely with the consumers, right? That's all of you in front of this video, and that we want to make sure like the product that we're designing really meets your needs. So this product that you're purchasing from the shelf anywhere in all the supermarkets will actually will make your life easier and help yourself, and it also makes you enjoy using the product more. So this is the key of our job, and then not only we work with internal functions from P&G, but also all of you in front of this video.
Yeah, what a great mix. That sounds like so much fun. It's such a cool experience to be able to think about, like the scents and what people want to hear and see and smell, but also getting to think about like those very scientific aspects like the chemistry and the safety and all of it. So that's so cool. So our next question is, can you please tell us what sparked your interest in this field? Did each of you always want to go into this field? Was it something that you grew into? Just tell us a little bit about your journeys into this awesome world that you're in now.
Well, I currently work in beauty products research, and I've always been interested in beauty. I just never knew that there was a career in beauty science. This is like my dream job that I never even knew existed. So I remember being very young, maybe 10, 11 years old, and I just loved beauty. And I would read all the beauty magazines that would come to my house. I would read through all of the skincare tips and all of the hair care ideas. And it was just something so fascinating to me. And it wasn't really until I got to college that I learned about P&G and this whole thing called products research, where I can combine all things beauty with all things science. And it was like these two things I absolutely love were finally together. I've been in beauty products research for about 15 years. I worked about 8 years in skincare. And then most recently, the past 7 or 8 years, I've been working in hair care on the North America business for herbal essences and hair food. And it's so exciting to use my science hat to create beautiful products, but it's also fun when you're actually in the grocery store and be like, hey, look, mom, like I worked on that. It's really fun.
That's so cool. And Iris, how about you?
For me, I always want to work in the beauty industry. So ever since when I was very little, when I like look at my mom putting on different things on her face, I always like take a little bit from her jar and also try to mimic her, try to put it on my face. And in growing up in Wisconsin, the weather is very cold and dry, so I always had to use lotion and moisturizers in the winter. And it makes my skin feel soft and very smooth. So that's when I started getting curious about what's in these little jars that make my skin feel very nice. So I also got very interested in looking into the different ingredients in these beauty products. So that's how I got very interested in beauty. So I then went to college and got a degree in chemical engineering, learned a lot about the process of making. So how things blend and how do you make these very nice beauty products or any products. So I then went to graduate school and then learned a lot about the interactions that goes behind the process. So trying to mix water and oil together, how do you stabilize them? What's all those interactions? So my education really prepared me for a career in beauty, and I didn't know this job existed. And now I think I can really apply my learnings into the field and where I can actually make a difference in the everyday products that you might see on the shelf when you walk down the shelf in any supermarket.
That's so cool. That's such a fun journey from something that started as like a simple hobby to finding out how STEM can be so involved
Mhm.
in what we're consuming, what we're putting on our faces. That's so cool. So our next question is, what is one of the coolest experiences each of you have had as part of your careers?
I think one of the coolest experiences I've had was a few years back where I had to go to Los Angeles for one of our TV commercial shoots. It was 2 weeks in LA, which is fun by itself. It was the middle of winter. But another passion area of mine is TV and movies, and I really got to learn firsthand how commercials are shot and produced. My role there was specifically to make sure that the models and the actresses that we're talking about our products, we're talking about them accurately. There was also a scene where we had Angie Harmon, that was the actress that was talking about our products, and I had to apply lotion on her face. Usually it's research and development person that puts the lotion on because we're the ones that know how to use the product correctly. And she kept giggling as I was applying it to her cheek. And then I started giggling because she was giggling. And then the director kind of got a little mad. And long story short, that scene was cut. But it was a really fun experience to learn so much and then also just have that impact, that very broad impact.
What a fun experience. Linda, thank you for sharing that with us. Iris, how about you?
So the coolest experience I ever had was for my very first project. I work in Pantene. I had a trip to New York City, and we had maybe an all-day workshop with beauty editors and from the beauty magazine, and also many influencers who has probably hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. So it felt very unique for me because I always see them on my phone, never in real person. So I had a chance to bring up my project idea in front of them and getting their feedback. It felt very different. I felt like I was in this behind the scene, like the secret that no one would know, who would be the next big thing, like in beauty industry or maybe on their magazine. So I think that was very interesting and unique and just very nerve-wracking for me, being able to like share my thoughts in front of these people who can make a huge influence in the industry.
That's also an awesome experience, and I am a little jealous because I love the beauty world and especially skincare, and these both sound so fun. So I'm available if you ever need someone to come with you. Um, so our next question is, what is a challenge that you have faced on your journey and how did you overcome it? It's helpful to learn how to overcome our own challenges sometimes by learning how others overcame their challenges. So we would love to learn from each of you a little bit.
Well, I think being a scientist and working in STEM is a challenge in and of itself because we are always working on something that no one's ever worked on before. We're answering questions that no one has an answer to. You're really on the edge of learning, and it can be a very daunting experience sometimes and very challenging career. But that's what I think is so fun and so exciting about it. In order to kind of tackle this challenge, what I try to do is first I write down and I think, okay, what do I know? And what do I don't know? And then start creating a plan of, well, what questions can I ask to help answer that question? What experiments can I run? What data do I think I will get back? Sometimes it's a situation where you need to ask your parents, you need to ask your teachers, you need to talk to people in the field. I have lots of mentors where, you know, I create this kind of learning plan of how I'm going to approach this problem, but then I reach out to my mentors to kind of get some help on that. So, you know, it can feel very daunting, kind of working on the edge of knowledge, but yeah, if you kind of dimensionalize the problem, kind of cut it up into little pieces, and then start working on it a little bit at a time, it doesn't seem so daunting anymore.
That's great advice. Thank you. It is so important to try to just, you know, take a problem and piece it out, make it a little bit smaller for yourself, make it less daunting. I use that technique all the time. I'm still learning, but it is a very helpful technique. Iris, how about you?
So the biggest challenge for me along the journey is probably not to get distracted, because along the journey, you'll hear a lot of voices telling you to do certain things and not to do certain things. And then even at school, there's so many people you will meet, and then everyone has a different passion. You don't always have to follow their footsteps. So not saying your friend takes certain class, you don't have to take the same class as your friend. So that's probably the hardest thing, because you always want to be together or in your comfort zone. So for me, the biggest, like what I do to overcome the challenge is always to look ahead. Like just take a second to think about the decision you're making today, how would it affect your future? And then if you're curious or when you doubt, like always try to ask an advisor or a mentor. So during my junior year in college, I had an internship at Kraft as a process engineer. So during that process, I really liked it during like that 12 weeks. And I met someone who's also a process engineer. But after talking to him, he was telling me, like, if this is what you want to do, you should just graduate and come back to Kraft Foods. If you want to do something different, or in this research and development, you might need a higher education or going to grad school. So that really helped me to make a decision, because I like my job, but I also wanted to explore what else is out there. So this led me to pursuing a higher degree in chemical engineering. And then my advisor, whom I worked with for the 5 years in grad school, she was a great mentor, and she was telling me that if things don't work out, don't feel bad. It's not a bug, it could be a feature. So something is bad when it happened, but try to think of it as something new and different that no one else has explored before. So I think my advice to you is always look ahead and find a mentor who can help you. Not your closest friend, but it could be someone you trust and then you seek out for help for. So
That's fantastic advice from both of you. And those are really important things to remember. Look ahead, keep pushing, piece out your problems. Don't let a problem daunt you too much. You can just keep going, just keep pushing. So you just touched on multiple advice pieces, but our next question is, what is some advice you'd like to give to any young person wanting to pursue a career in a STEM field? So is there any other advice you'd like to give?
Oh, yes, definitely. My advice is get out of your own way. And what do I mean by that? I think a lot of us have that little voice in our head that says, oh, you can't do a science, a career in STEM. You're not as smart as that kid over there. You're not as creative as that person over there. And you need to tell that voice, stop it. I don't have time to listen to you. I am too busy thinking about other things and doing other things. You have value. You approach problems in a different way than anybody else does. And that's really what we need right now in the world and in the world of science. We need that diversity of thought. We need those new approaches to problems. If we were all the same, we wouldn't get anywhere. We need those new ideas, and we need you to bring them to the table.
That is great advice. Thank you. And I hope everyone at home heard that. You got to stay out of your own way sometimes. I'm guilty of that. Everyone's guilty of that.
Yeah.
You can do it. So keep pushing, keep going. Iris, how about you?
So for me, I think STEM field is not only for inspiring scientists, engineers, or mathematicians from its name, but it's more for everyone who wants to make an impact in the world. So all the STEM majors, they're very, very hands-on. So the problem you're solving is actually a real problem, and then you will make a change and you will make an impact. And then STEM field will also open up a lot of opportunities, not only the knowledge you learn along the way, but also it teaches you a lot of transferable skills, including critical thinking, problem solving, but also collaboration, which is probably one of the most important things you will learn in your life. So don't be afraid to take on the first step. And I think you will all enjoy the journey of getting a STEM degree or getting into the STEM field.
That is also great advice. Linda, Iris, thank you so much. That is so wonderful. That is all we have for today. We really appreciate both of you coming and chatting with us and teaching us about what you do and giving us some really awesome advice. We look forward to seeing your products on the shelves. So thank you both so much for joining us today.
Of course. Thanks for inviting us.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. And thank you all for tuning in. Keep tuning in to all the other awesome videos that Cincinnati Museum Center has to offer. We have more STEM Girls Virtual coming at you all the time. We have story tree time, dance parties, and we even have some vintage beauty tutorials. So you can check out these awesome P&G products and then maybe learn how to do some fun stuff with them. So thank you all for tuning in. Keep checking things out and keep learning Cincinnati. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.